Okay, I believe it's 6 p.m. This is the City of Granbury regular City Council meeting. It is 6 p.m. on Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. We are at Granbury City Hall, 116 West Bridge Street in Granbury, Texas. And as I mentioned, hopefully every meeting, this can be watched live on www.granbury.org/live. So the meeting is now called to order. If we could have our invocation, if Pastor Dan Jones from the Triple Cross Cowboy Church would please step up. Thank you, sir.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to be here in this place and discuss your business. And Lord, we ask that your wisdom would prevail here tonight. We ask, Lord, for your guidance, for your blessing, that we would do things and make decisions that you would bless and that you could bless. So, Lord, I ask that you be with this body and that you would guide them and direct them. And I pray your blessings on them, Lord, for giving of their time and putting their name on the line here, Lord, and going on the record to guide this city in your way. And that's my prayer, Lord. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag and the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. It's a great country we live in. We are able to stand and do that. You can't do that everywhere in this world. So tonight we have some proclamations, presentation on item 4. We're going to proclaim the National Public Works Week first, come up. And then we will have a proclamation recognizing Memorial Day ceremony, which is to be held on Monday, the May 29th, on Memorial Day. So, Mr. Kaufman, do you want to have the ladies and gentlemen come up?
If I could get all the Public Works folks to come forward.
Oh, okay.
This is where the rubber meets the road, these guys.
Are y'all finished? Well, I have an official proclamation for this fine group of people, and I assure you, if they were not here, you would know all about it and you would appreciate them even more. So whereas public works services provided in the city of Granbury are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas public works professionals focus on providing the most effective and efficient operations that are critical for our community, such as maintenance and construction of roads, water supply, water treatment and wastewater systems, engineering, electric distribution, fleet maintenance, and maintenance of public buildings and parks essential for our citizens. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of the city's professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government. And whereas National Public Works Week is a celebration of the tens of thousands of men and women who provide and maintain the infrastructure, facilities, and services collectively known as public works. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jim Jarrett, Mayor of the City of Granbury, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21 through 27, 2023 as National Public Works Week in Granbury. I urge all citizens to acquaint themselves with the wide range of services which involve the city's public works and internal services departments, and to recognize the contributions which the employees make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. It's given under my hand and seal of the City of Granbury of the 16th day of May, 2023. And I will reemphasize, if you don't appreciate these people, just have them all be gone for about a week. We will appreciate them very, very, very much. Thank you all for being here.
Oh, sure. Well, Mayor, I have worked in a number of different cities over the years, a 50-year career, and I tell you, we have the greatest staff here that I have ever worked with.
I agree with you 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got it?
Don't take that right. You got another one?
Yeah.
Just Memorial Lane.
Really? Really? Margaret, as soon as you stop laughing, do you want to get the Memorial Lane group on up here, please? This is a proclamation about Memorial Lane and the Jim Burks firefighters at Memorial Park and what's going to be happening there over Memorial Day and around the city for that matter. Whereas Memorial Lane at the Jim Burks Firefighters Memorial Park was dedicated as a site to remember and honor all of those who serve as a firefighter, law enforcement officer, and in the military. It includes a place to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And whereas Memorial Day is to remember those in the military who gave their last measure of devotion in the defense of our nation and remind us that freedom is not free, and whereas the Friends of Memorial Lane have planned a Memorial Day ceremony to honor all of our fallen service members to be held May 29, 23, and whereas the ceremony includes the unveiling of an addition that highlights the role of women in the American Revolution. Now, therefore, I, Jim Jarrett, Mayor of the City of Granbury, Texas, recognize the Memorial Day ceremony on May 29, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. at Memorial Lane and encourage all citizens to take this opportunity to remember the fallen. Furthermore, I call on our citizens to fly American flags at their homes and businesses, pledging allegiance to freedom and paying homage to those who died in the service of our country. So this is given under my hand and the seal of the City of Granbury on the 16th day of May 2023, Jim Jarrett as mayor. Also want to acknowledge, make this Memorial Day announcement. there's another unique event hosted by Friends of Memorial Lane. As stated in the proclamation, there will be a special opening day memorial ceremony at the military site in Memorial Lane. There will be a traditional opening, the presentation and reading of the winner of the J.C. Campbell Essay Contest, and the unveiling of the beautiful new marker section within the military section of Memorial Lane. All is followed by a free box lunch around the tables placed under the trees. Please bring a chair, shuttle, and there is a shuttle for your enjoyment over and back. The co-chair of this event is Margaret Cook, Steve Teal, Laura Fisher, and Julia Pinnell. And these ladies are up here and represented on this, and gentlemen are represented. We'll have the gentleman over here. Faye, do you mind? We're not going to let you in the picture. My mother used to give me that look. Are you ready? Yes, sir. Thank you. I also want to announce that in addition to the Memorial Lane ceremony on Memorial Day, there will be a unveiling of the new Fallen Warriors Memorial on the Courthouse Square. I think that starts at 12:30, and then there is the ceremony out at the Field of Flags at 2 p.m., and then there's additional memorial in memory, but memorial-type activities around the square, not a festival, but memorial-type activities that will be around the square even later in the day. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for what you do, and we will see you all there on Memorial Day. You bet. We're going to go into the proclamation and presentation. City Council, City Manager to issue encouraging statements and to recognize city staff. City Manager, City Council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Vail.
I just want to let the people know how much work the council, the mayor, and Chris and the city staff have put in with the 88th legislative session that's been going on in Austin. It's about to come to a close here at the end of the month.
Not soon enough.
There have been a couple bills that we've been very aggressive about letting our legislators know, our representatives here, our opposition. You may be aware back, maybe a month or so ago, we put a document together that we communicated out to our legislators, bills that we supported and bills that we opposed, and things that we thought were bad bills for the city. Subsequent to that, Chris Kaufman, I think, has done an admirable job with his staff. They put together some really succinct documents that communicate out the impact that some of these bills would have on the city of Granbury. There were two bills, Senate Bill 20, or House Bill 2127 and Senate Bill 369. And I think that those two pieces of information, I think, went a long way of communicating out the position of the city. And I applaud Chris. I know that he's gone, in my opinion, I told him last night, kind of the extra mile of communicating and talking specifically to some of our representatives about it. And I think some of those discussions have produced some positive results for us. You know, we don't always get our way on pieces of legislation, and one piece that we're a little concerned about, a preemptive bill, doesn't seem like it's going to work out. However, there was another bill that looks like it's going to kind of work out for the city. So I want to just recognize Chris and his staff and team for just some tremendous work and communicating out our position from the city and working aggressively to try to make sure they understood the implications they'd have on the city of Granbury. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that is a big ditto. I mean, the work has been, in addition to all of the other things that happened for Chris and staff. You know, the city kept running at the same time, but these bills, Chris comes in and just laughs at me because I'm just in there shaking my head. I cannot believe some of the stuff that comes up. But thanks to his efforts, we heard some of the rationale for not approving and for approving some of the bills. Some of that rationale was read out on the floor just this last week. Now, other people were taking credit for Chris's work, but that was fine. It was, it got done, and in that particular case, that bill got stymied. Thank goodness. Other comments? Anyone? Okay. Let's move to public comments on agenda items for non-public hearing agenda items. The only public item we have is 7.5. So do we have any other? So no one else is asked to speak on any of the non-public. I'm going to move right to the consent agenda. Okay. The consent agenda is all items on the consent agenda are routine or previously discussed items and be approved with one motion. However, should a member of the City Council want to discuss any item, said item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the deliberation agenda. We have the City Council meeting minutes, and then we have the a resolution to approve a grant. Do anybody want to pull anything off, further discuss? I don't see anyone wanting to do that, so I'll call for a motion. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Corrigan.
Second.
Ms. Burwell, seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear it passing 6-0. Very good. We'll move to the deliberation agenda. The Granbury Cultural Arts Commission, the GCAC, will now present the biannual report. Mr. Kaufman.
I think we'll turn it over to Ms. Tammy Dooley, our Director of Tourism, and obviously the Arts Commission falls under tourism, and I think we have Cora Worley going to speak to us, but I'll let Tammy go. Take it over.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Kaufman. It is very exciting today to welcome the Cultural Arts Commission to present their biannual report. It has been a great year of planning and working as a commission to move art forward in Granbury. Last time the commission was here was to present the Public Art Master Plan, and the group has been steadfast at working to finalize the application to the Texas Commission on the Arts to become a cultural arts district. As staff liaison to the Cultural Arts Commission, along with Kristen Gibson, who is here tonight, it is exciting to see this goal come together. As you know, art tourism is an important partnership between the creative community and the tourism industry by showcasing how art can uniquely benefit a community, especially through tourism economic impact. With that said, I don't want to steal the thunder of Cora, but I would like to introduce the Arts Commission Chair, Cora Worley, who has done an amazing job in moving this process forward. She has spent countless hours and dedication to this commission, and I would like to thank Cora and the entire Arts Commission for all they do for the city of Granbury. Some of whom are here tonight, and I would like them just to stand up maybe for a minute. Stacy Watkins, Sheshi Langford, Mariella Riley, Mickey Parsons, and of course Kristen Gibson. And then I'll turn it over to Cora.
Thank you, Tammy. It's always fun to follow Tammy. She makes you sound really good. So today, we're going to be looking at the biannual State of the Arts Assessment, which I'm pretty sure you have in your packet. So I'm not going to read it to you, and I'm not going to cover every point. If you have questions, happy to entertain them. But I would like to point out that this is all based on the master plan that you approved last year. So according to that plan, you're supposed to have a biannual assessment of the arts. The last one was done by Heather Cleveland. Some of you will remember that. And so this is the first one that we've done. We did accomplish some of our goals from that master plan. We have some in progress. particularly the one that Tammy mentioned about applying to the Texas Commission on the Arts to be designated, this will be our name, Granbury Cultural District. So you'll be seeing that everywhere, Granbury Cultural District. We've also been developing a call for artists. We've been working on a walking map. We have 2 pages of things we've accomplished, not like we're a little bit proud, but things are happening here. I mean, there's things that you need to know about. A big one is Harvest Moon back on the square. That's iconic, and it's done, so it'll be there from now on. Children's Creations is going to get bigger and better, which draws a lot of kids and a lot of their parents with money to spend, so that's all good. We have several people who are getting involved with the Texans for the Arts. Stacy is actually designated one of their advocacy leader coalition partners, I guess it is, which is great for us. That's statewide presence. We have a new art gallery, new music venues, new culinary venues. Stacy and I have started, thanks to Sam Houston, an article in the paper once a month about the arts, where we can say anything we want, and that's been pretty fun. And we have 2 new murals. We have increased promotion of studio space in Langdon. We have the Brian Cloudis. I don't know if how many of y'all have been to those experiences, but that's a brand new thing. And we have Best Destination for Foodies in Texas. We have the 40th Texas Music Friendly designation. People are becoming aware of what Granbury is and what we do. And not that they haven't been for a while. We have some new art shows coming. She mentioned the time that has been spent working on this application this year, and it's because there's a lot of money involved in that. I think the numbers that we have in here were Granbury generated $52 million in travel spending, and there's all kinds of ways you figure out how much of that is art. You estimate how much of that is art or cultural tourism. 25% of that. That's a huge thing for our community. I mean, we have a lake, we have all kinds of other cool stuff. But arts and culture, that's who we are. And part of that is historic preservation, also who we are. So with that in mind, there's a couple things that we need to ask you to do. One of them is the resolution, which we'll discuss separately, but I want to point that out. You should have that in your packet. The mayor has been very generous in volunteering to do for the city to do whatever is, I know, he's volunteering Chris to do. Whatever we need done to promote the arts, and that's a wise path to be on. One of them is signage, and we've already talked about this. I know y'all are in support of that. There will be some more direct requests for that, because people don't know where the art is. You've had some pictures up here, some great public sculptures that if you don't know where to go, you can't find them. So we want people to find the art. We've had a citizen or two discuss starting a fine art museum. We don't really know where that's going to go. But if we can discuss that with anybody, we should. We should be discussing that with anybody who's willing to consider doing it. So we're asking the city for help with that. And the last thing is, and I'm not asking for this yet, but we are a 7-member volunteer board. And when we get this designation, there's a lot of work involved. Not just managing the cultural district, which is what we're already tasked to do, but also there's just reporting, and there's so much work. We're going to need an employee. So you're going to get a request down the road, and Chris already looking at me like, what? Yeah, no, it's not time yet. I just don't want you to be shocked when the time comes. You know, what do they want an employee for? So we do as much as we can as volunteers. And I want to point out one, I think this was in your packet. It's been withdrawn, and we're not going to discuss the project. But do you remember the picture of the butterflies? That's one of the ways that this commission works the way it's supposed to. Because that person, who's a very creative entrepreneur, wanted to do a certain kind of statue that wouldn't have been representative of our community. And she somehow got to the mayor, who sent her to us, which is what should happen. So she came to us with this idea, and we met with her, and we treated her with respect. We are very honored to have a young person. I mean, she can't be over 22 or 3 years old. I could be wrong, but anyway, she's a young person, an entrepreneur, and wants to make money putting art in Granbury. So we just talked to her about who Granbury really is. And instead of the prior statue, we're going to have butterflies. So we're on the Monarch Trail. We're part of the mayor signed us up for the, what's that called exactly? The mayor's Monarch, yeah. So butterflies are perfect, and they're going to be this big. Yeah, so you're going to see them. They can't be on the square. There's some rules, but you'll be seeing them around town. And I want you to think about that's what your art commission is doing. So that's all on the report. Does anybody have any questions?
Council, questions? I think you covered all the bases. Do you have something, Chris?
We appreciate your report. We do want a written copy. It's not in our agenda packet, so if we can make sure that Tammy
Oh.
gets it to us, that would be great.
So sorry. Thought it was in
Well,
there.
that's the plan.
Yeah.
No problem. We
Okay.
appreciate the report, though.
I think all I'm supposed to do is ask you to accept it. So at some point, please accept it. Receive
It's
it.
kind of like our audit. We just receive it. There's
Okay.
not a vote, so
Good deal.
we appreciate it. Y'all have any questions?
Does
I'm
it-
really excited about y'all rolling with this program. It's really good, and we've been striving towards this for quite some time, and new breath of momentum going. And I hope that we're successful in our grant submission and get that. That's the next agenda item, but we've applied for it twice, and they've rejected us 3 times, and they've rejected us. So I think we got a much more robust application this time around. So
The main reason being that the city's involved.
yeah,
So
good.
it's really up to y'all, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to stay here for the next one, or I don't know what your procedure is?
Sure.
Yeah, we can go ahead to 7.3, and then we'll come back to 7.2, if that works.
I think 7.2 is not on, is that the one that was taken off?
That's accepting the public art butterfly statue.
Right, and we're not discussing that.
It's been, 7.2 has been removed.
Right.
Still operating off of Monday's paper, okay. So 7.3 is consider adopting resolution number 23.09, approving and supporting the submission of an application to the Texas Commission of the Arts for designation as a cultural district.
Thank you. Do you have that in your packet? Okay. Has everybody had an opportunity to read it? I don't want to read it to you for no reason if you can all read.
We have that.
Yeah, it's in there.
Right.
I might just add that this is what's needed as they move forward to submit this to the state. And they've been working
Yeah. Oh.
for about 3 years. This Cultural Arts Commission has been working with different people, but we're finally getting there. And so the plan, the master plan's all put together for you. We've adopted the master plan. This is just simply submitting it to the state. And this resolution is just simply saying, we want this recognition for our community, and we've got the Cultural Arts Commission formed and supporting them and with this plan. And there's some budgetary items in there that we've adopted to move forward with too. So that shows the state that we're not just trying to get a plaque to hang on the wall. We've actually got a program. We're trying to implement it and create tourism and for the artist. And
Texas Commission on the Arts does not want to fund fledgling plans. They want a well-developed cultural, and we have that.
Yeah.
So there's no reason. And this is actually, this is part of our application. So that's how important it is to them that the city is supporting us. And we also have a letter signed by County Judge Massengill that the county is likewise in support. The only part I would probably want to make sure we're reading is that the City of Granbury approves the submission of the application for designation as a cultural district through the Texas Commission on the Arts and assigns the city manager or his or her designee as the authorized official. So there may be a couple of other documents that will need to be signed when we get the application in its final form. And the attachment is, or should be, a map of where the cultural district is. So,
Exhibit
you know,
A.
it'd be a nice little thing for y'all to do when you have nothing else to do, to go walk that. So as a council, so you know where we're talking about. Okay, any questions on that?
No, I
All
just
right.
had a comment. I've had an opportunity to sit in a few meetings, and this group's really worked very hard and diligently putting this together. So I just applaud you for all your hard work and efforts. And I think Chris is right. I think you have a very robust application. So
We
I
do. And we thank you
pray
for
and
coming.
fingers crossed this works.
Yeah.
When
You
is
and the mayor both.
when is the presentation to the
We send a draft in on Monday. They look at our draft and tell us if they think there's anything that needs changed, and then the deadline is June 15th. It also goes with a really good video, which we don't have ready yet, but we'll have, and you'll be able to see that. It's, I don't know if you know Larry Rodriguez. I think he's Associated Press photographer, just does a beautiful job, and really showcases who we are. So you'll see that when it's done.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we will move to 7.4. Consider approving the. We need to adopt the resolution. I'm moving right along tonight. Okay. Do I hear a motion to adopt resolution number 23.09?
Mr.
So
Mayor.
moved.
Okay.
Mr. Wadley moves.
Second.
Mr. Vale, they're in a hurry too. Mr. Vale seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I believe that is passing 6-0. Thank you. Consider approving the proposed community engagement solutions presented by staff, and consider adopting ordinance number 2326, amending the operating budget for the general fund to provide funding for community engagement solutions utilizing the budgeted contingency funds. So, Mr. Kaufman?
Sure. As y'all are aware, in our strategic plan, we addressed the need to improve our communication and interaction with the community, and staff has been working on that. At this time, I'll turn it over to Jeff Newfer, our communication manager, to walk us through some recommendations that they've come up with in conjunction with Councilmember Burtwell as being part of our little committee that we had, because she saw something she liked and kind of spearheaded this. So go ahead, Jeff.
So good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share some of these details that Chris talked about citizen engagement solutions that'll benefit you, that'll benefit the staff, and it'll most of all benefit our residents. During the last 2 years, the city has increased the amount of communication, methods of delivering factual information about the city to residents and through news media. And council, as you remember, last year Ron Cox, one of the city consultants, helped you all establish goals and strategies, including improve citizen engagement, which in one word would be listening. So this proposal is a way to help you meet that goal that you have. You're already listening to residents at meetings like this, in other public places, through email and other ways. The city manager has had periodic listening sessions, meetings in this room, and everyone who attends those is heard. City staff reads emails and social media posts on a regular basis, almost hourly it seems like. Concerned citizens are taken seriously and appropriately acted upon if they need a response. So we are all listening to the people who step up, who call, who use their keyboards, but it's not a representative sample, and by itself probably would not lead to good decision making. So to increase not only the amount of inbound communication, but the value of inbound communication, we are recommending a mixture of new listening methods, and those include scientific surveys, non-scientific surveys, online message boards, and in-person, face-to-face listening sessions. The four of these combined are designed to give you, the council, a deeper understanding of what residents want, and to give you a range of data that collectively achieves a level of validity and usefulness for governmental decision making. So I'm going to pause now and answer your questions, and if you would like, I have a short demonstration for you.
Go ahead and show us the demonstration and let them ask questions after that, if they have any.
So if you would, get your smartphone out into the text mode.
We'd like everybody in the audience to do this too. We can do up to 25 people. I think we got that covered here.
Yep. And the instruction is at the top of your screen there. The number you're texting to is 22333, and you're texting Jeff N134 to that number.
all upper caps?
Yes, the same way it is on the instruction on the monitor at the top of the screen. Two two 333, and then text the message to that number. Text Jeff N 134. Is anybody getting connected? Okay. Council members on the right side of the dais.
We're slow over here.
That's okay. That's okay. It's fully understood there's a learning curve with this, which is why it's just one of the 4 methods we're suggesting.
So we answer this one then.
Okay, when you're there, see the question on the screen. Hypothetical example, you have to rent a car for 3 weeks. Only 2 cars are available to choose from. Do you select A, a hands-free Ford Blue Cruise for $50 a day? Or do you like that Chevy Suburban, last year's model, for $200 a day? Select A or B. Send that as your message at this time, please. All right, see at the bottom there, 10 of you have already voted. Total results, we're looking for the total number of people in the room if we could. I'll show you the results later. We've got 13. I'm going to feel happy if we get 20. Council members, are you all, everyone on the dais, have you all voted? Okay. I'll give you a little information. The documentation behind this would not show me how you voted as an individual. It would give me the last 4 digits of your phone number, but it would not tell me how you voted either in this scenario or when it actually happens in real life. All right, we've got 14. Anyone else trying to vote?
How would you know?
Okay, all right, we'll move on to question 2. Please select your favorite flavor of ice cream from these choices: vanilla, butter pecan, strawberry, or chocolate. A, B, C, and D. Select only one. All right, we've had 13 people vote. 14 now. Feels like a telethon. My goodness, 15. 16. We've got more ice cream lovers than we have rent-a-car people.
His isn't going through.
Okay. Okay. We've got 18. That's good. Next question. Assuming you don't already have a family member with one of these names, my favorite name for a newborn girl from these choices is A, B, C, or D. Olivia, Emma, Charlotte, or Amelia. If you don't already have a family member by that name, which name would you select? We've got 11. By the way, last week the Social Security Administration gave the list for the most popular names of 2022. These 4 are the most popular girls' names. So you'll be meeting a lot of Olivias, Emmas, Charlottes, and Amelias in your future. All right, that's 16 voters. Shall we move on? All right, this one's a little different. In 4 words or less, please describe Granbury to a lifelong Chicago resident. Okay, so now we're asking you to type words in there, not just A, B, C, or D, but type words. 4 words or less, describing it essentially to someone who's never been to Granbury.
All at the same time, separated by commas?
No,
or-
no commas, just put words in there. And it's creating, as on the fly, if you look up at the screens now, it's creating what's called a word cloud. The more frequent someone puts in a word that you have, the larger the word becomes. And it's doing this live. So a lot of you must think we're beautiful, historic, and charming, and friendly. How about that? I don't see cultural up there, which is kind of surprising based on the agenda item before me.
Historical.
There we go. Okay, shall we move on? Oh, we're still calculating.
Yeah, spell check's working great.
Not windy.
Godly. Isn't godly down the road a little bit? No. Okay, shall we move on? I'm going to give it one more second to add one last set of words. There we go. Okay, now this is something that you might actually use rather than ice cream or rental cars or how to describe it. So, for example, council, if you were having this item on a future agenda, you might ask Chris or Michael, could we do some type of polling, non-scientific in this case, about our short-term rental rules? We would couple that with scientific polling, in-person meetings, and online, our website, online written messages that residents would post. And this information would go to the city manager and deputy city manager.
Yeah. Would the number of people show up somewhere, or would you, in the final report?
It will in the results tab here in just a moment.
Okay. Oh,
Everybody vote.
Okay, the polls are closing in 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, now we're going to look at responses very quickly. Okay. There's your car rental. There's your ice cream. There's your family names, first names. The word cloud is kind of self-explanatory.
yeah, I saw that.
All right, any questions, council?
That's cool. So this one is called, what type, a citizen survey?
This one is called Poll Everywhere,
Okay,
this tool.
and this is part of the package that you're asking for additional funds for, is that what I'm,
This tool is $120 a year,
okay,
and then a scientific survey that we can put in the field 6 times a year. Turnaround is about 3 or 4 days. That is $8,900 a year for a 3-year commitment. And if we do the 3-year commitment, they waive the $3,000 setup fee. And that setup fee is to validate that we are having City of Granbury residents responding to the questions.
so scientific survey, explain that to me.
Okay? The easiest way to explain it is it's a representative sample of all of Granbury. Gender, racial makeup, income, a number of different categories, such as those. So the people that are responding are a representative sample of the whole. So if you had 1,000 people or 100 people in Granbury and 40 of them were men and 60 were women. In your survey, it would be 40% women, 40% men, 60% women. That's what your survey would be. That's scientific, instead of it's just who responded, as we did tonight. We did not do a scientific survey tonight.
Yeah, but I can't think of the plan, but we already do that for one of the plans, don't we, Chris? I don't want to say comprehensive plan, but I know, but this is also information for us as well. So is that something that you're going to be providing that survey to us, or is that?
I'll be giving it to the city manager and deputy city manager, and they will provide it to council that direction.
So we hadn't got the survey put together yet. This is just the application of whatever we want to survey. So we're not establishing a program of what you're surveying at this point. This is just the method or the tool to deliver the research that we need when we need it. So like, I guess a good example would be if you wanted to do a community survey on the quality of the services delivered to the citizens. So we could come up with those questions, and then this company actually puts it out there and verifies it. It's just the citizens receiving those services that are filling out the poll. Our citizens, not somebody in the county or the ETJ. It's just our citizens. And then also they look at the demographics and make sure that we're getting a representative of the entire community in that sample poll. And then they strive to get a number of responses that would be representative of a scientific poll. So this is just the methodology to do the actual survey.
Okay, I just don't want us to be paying for a comprehensive plan that does some of that community engagement, and then on this, we're also paying for this that gives us the same type of information.
So the comprehensive plan is strictly taken from people that are willing to fill out the survey.
Okay.
There's not any scientific method to chase after somebody to fill out the survey. And so that meets our demographic. So like whenever we have our town hall meetings, the people that come to that comprehensive planning meeting are here because they're interested in it. They're not necessarily representative in a scientific poll of the whole community.
Gotcha.
So it's a little different. It's
Okay.
it's more complex than just, and then you want to be careful not to ask questions that have internal bias built into it, and this company helps us with that too.
Okay. And this polling, can you lock it down to one response per person or per phone number?
The company, which is called Flash Vote, would, yes, that's part of their guarantee, is this is scientifically valid. So you wouldn't have two people from a household responding, for example.
Okay.
You might have neighbors responding, but
I just don't want, because if you look at Charming, I enter Charming 8 times so I can get Charming up in everybody's face. That's an example of what I'm saying. If I can enter Charming 8 times, it skews the numbers because it came from one number, and that's my number.
No, that feature is just for like when we're sitting here and we're doing like a town hall meeting and people are watching from home or something. We could actually look at that and say, well, we kind of got a feel for how they feel. See, it's not scientific.
Okay.
The scientific is the one where you have the ABC, whatever.
All right. Just wanted to make sure that we are thinking about those things that could possibly happen, that could skew the numbers and give false representation and false information to us, that for us to make those type of decisions. But we're going to make a decision based on the most accurate and most up-to-date information that we can, and I just want that. That's all.
A good place this could have been used if we had it was whenever the parks, not the parks, well, the parks, Master Parks Plan did a community survey and solicited for people to survey, and it was truly a random survey because we had not a sample size adequate to give you a scientific result, plus the demographics weren't even considered. What we've been able to do up to this point is just hope that we put out a survey and hope that the people will respond. and we don't know who those people are, what their demographics are, and the sample size. And like when we did the Cultural Arts Commission survey, they had less than 300 people respond, and so that's all we had to work with. If we would have had this tool, we could have probably had a more scientific report put together on a poll related to those questions that were asked. So that it's just a good tool to understand what the public's thinking.
One of the models for scientific survey would be the Nielsen Company with TV ratings. Do you know anybody that's ever been part of that? Okay, 1 out of 7, and that's, but yet billions of dollars in television advertising are spent based on the trust in scientific survey. So the company we're looking at, called Flash Vote, is used by local cities, Arlington, Bedford, Mansfield, and a number of smaller cities in Texas, and a number of other cities nationwide. And the president of Flash Vote is an elected official in Oregon. So he sat on your side of the dais and said, I'm going to start a company that will give legislative bodies valid data to make decisions based on that data. It's got to be scientific, though. It can't be a Facebook vote. It can't be like we did tonight with just the people in the room. It can't be just who shows up to the council meetings. It can't be, it has to be scientific. So we're taking that mix and adding the other 3 methods that I mentioned so that you all will have a wide variety of data, but including scientific data. Scientifically collected, I should say.
So when they're doing the scientific vote, it's not like what we did tonight, and you said they're going to get a representative sample from the entire community. How do they obtain that sample? Is this like phone calls or mailing something out, or like?
They will do phone calls, they will do mail outs, they will do a number of different methods to obtain that valid sample number to achieve that.
And that's included in the annual fee?
Yes,
Okay.
because we're doing a 3-year agreement with them, it's included in the fee.
Are there other ancillary things that, would they charge us to develop the survey, or? is this
No, that's included.
So this is inclusive, okay?
Yeah.
Ms. Burwell?
Thank you, Mayor. This, Jeff, thank you so much for this, and I wanted to talk about this just kind of to assuage some of your concerns, Eddie. The reason that I wanted to discuss this with the council, in 2021, I was at a conference, and there was a speaker, and he was very vibrant, and he posed a question to us as council members at the time, and it is, how is your community engagement? What does that look like? And in my mind, it was the cadre of folks that sits here every week or every other week. It's the same folks all the time, or the handful that do come to some public meetings. And I love that we do that, and we've had some success. Chris, I applaud him for doing the, it's the talk with the manager. I'd like to speak to the manager, please. I think that was what it was called. We came up with pickleball because we as a council did not understand how important that was to the community. This is something I wanted to do to reach out to our community. Community engagement is extremely important for us. We cannot have a vision for Granbury as a council without understanding what the people who live here want out of Granbury. And he said something that resonated with me. It still resonates with me. And it's ask the people what they want, listen to what they have to say, and give it to them to the best of your ability. And then the other thing he said was meet them where they are. And we're not comprehensively doing that at this point, and we need to come into the 21st century and somehow come up with a way to do this. So I'm extremely excited about this process, and I saw this very demonstration. It was an interactive talk at that conference, and we did the very same thing. So he got a really good representation. It's anonymous. I have a feeling a lot of people want to be involved, but they either can't get here or they don't want to be bad-mouthed on Facebook for their opinion. And that, it's a legitimate concern. People just don't want to be engaged because they don't want to be, bad-mouthed. So this is a way to do some things anonymously. It's a way to get a scientific sample, like Jeff was discussing, on the things that matter to the people of the city, not just to us as their leaders. You know, we do. We listen to them all the time. They tell us what they want. We can't always get it done, but if we can find out exactly what it is that they're looking for, that helps us lead Granbury in the direction we need to go based on what the people we represent want. So I'm extremely excited about this, and I really appreciate Chris entertaining this, and Michael and Jeff talking about this and bringing this to the dais for us to discuss today. Thank you.
Okay.
On the business side of it, Jeff was wanting to, put this in next year's budget, and I said, let's bring it back to council, make recommendations, and do a budget amendment from our contingency fund. It's not that big a chunk of change out of our contingency fund, and let y'all go ahead and let's get rolling on this. Was what we were looking for tonight.
My opinion on this is the outbound communication that we have, the videos that the presentation that's being videoed tonight, the work that has been done with with our social media posting. We do a heck of a lot of, and I think it's outstanding. I think, in general, it's just outstanding work. And if you don't think that this presentation that shows up on the video is outstanding, go to YouTube and just ask for any other city, I don't care which city it is, and measure their quality of the product, the clarity of the product, the content, the professionalism. We're head and shoulders above any of this as we communicate outwardly. This to me is, where we were with outbound communication 4 to 5 years ago, just audio and then some very poor video, and then it's just progressed to a professional level. This inbound communication, which is you have to have both to have communication. This is the piece that I think brings it forward to us, that gives us the opportunity to truly respond to our community. So obviously I'm going to be very much in favor of it, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you, because this didn't just happen. I know that there was work involved to get it to this point. So we thank you. Other comments? Mr. Rodriguez?
Mayor, sometimes I'm just impressed, and then sometimes I'm really impressed just with the work that the city council members do on their off time, and just how much effort they put in, not only just looking and reviewing the agenda items, meeting with the public, meeting with different representatives out in the public, but also thinking of other ideas of how to make the council better. And I really appreciate every one of y'all. And I think we have such a great council with so much diversity and experience that it just benefits not only the citizens, but also the staff, that we can bring this to the city of Granbury.
Other comments? Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 23.6 as written?
So moved.
Ms. Burwell makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Corrigan makes the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I believe I hear no nays. It passes 6-0. Thank you, Jeff. It's really good. It's a good presentation. Okay. We're going to move to 7.5. Discuss and consider adopting ordinance number 23-37, adopting the general tax abatement policy for the city of Granbury. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mayor. To help facilitate a speedier process here, just say that we do not have a current tax abatement policy, and so this is a way to get us there. Lance has been spending his expert time developing this document and doing research, benchmarking against other cities that we potentially compete with, and so I'll turn it over to him and walk you through the process, and then after we hear from him, maybe we can have that public hearing that's required by law, and then receive input and go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Kaufman, Mayor, and Council. As you know, our primary economic development incentives program is the Chapter 380 program, which recently you made some amendments to not too long ago. One of the things that's happening in the legislature right now, there are a couple of bills that are seeking to restrict the potential for Chapter 380 to offer property tax rebates. And as you may recall, we did a property tax rebate for the Lake Granbury Medical Center project. Those bills are SB 1419, which passed the Senate, and HB 4940, which is currently being considered. So recently, City Manager Chris Kaufman directed me to draft the Chapter 312 tax abatement guidelines and criteria, which is referred to as the general tax abatement policy, which is in your packet. The guidelines and criteria must be in place in order for tax abatement agreements to be done with eligible entities. And this policy utilizes some elements from the city Chapter 380 property tax rebate policy. And we also looked at the city of Fort Worth's tax abatement policy. We combined, we sort of mushed that together, or mashed that together, excuse me. I'm thinking about that butter pecan ice cream. So, Chapter 312 only refers to property taxes and does not include sales and use taxes or other taxes. Whereas Chapter 380, this current legislation would just allow sales and use tax rebates and not property tax rebates. So these new guidelines we think are important to have in our economic development toolbox. There are other cities in the region, for instance, Weatherford, of course, the city of Fort Worth, Cleburne, Burleson, Azle, and Lake Worth have a tax abatement policy. If this policy were approved, it would go into effect immediately and be in place for 2 years, where it would sunset and have to be looked at again. And it can be renewed, amended, or altered with 3/4 vote approval of the City Council. Some of the eligibility requirements for tax abatement in this particular policy, eligible projects and facilities include manufacturing, distribution centers and warehousing, aviation-related facilities, energy services, headquarters, research parks and facilities, and data centers. We're also looking at some of our new target industries, which has not formally been presented to you yet from our target industry study, which include air transport industry support activities, which is aircraft maintenance and repair services, aerospace product and parts manufacturing, job shop manufacturers, destination tourism and recreation, customer solutions, which is software, and healthcare and social assistance. We're also looking at target developments, business parks and office parks, industrial and office shell and spec buildings, and planned commercial or mixed-use development, including regional retail, hospitality, entertainment, and recreation. Those target industries are addressed in our current Chapter 380 policy. And the minimum requirement for a general project would be a company would have to create 20 jobs, $2 million in capital investment, and also create 20 jobs with average wages over the current, average salaries over the current city average salary, which is about $44,000 a year. We also included some other eligible projects and business types, which existing businesses would only have to create 10 jobs with $1 million in capital investment. And we also looked at technology companies, which would have to create 5 jobs, and there would not be a capital investment requirement. Some examples of technology companies include space research and technology, computers, scientific research and development services, software publishers, data processing, engineering services, testing laboratories, and biotechnology. So that's all I have. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Council, to you, Mr. Kaufman.
I just want to add to it that, you know, the need for this is important. It's a general format. It doesn't lock you into a particular incentive. It's all subject to your approval, but it gives us basic guidelines that we're working under as staff to move forward to try to attract businesses, to get them at least to the talking point. So ultimately, the decision for any kind of incentive, tax abatement whatsoever would come through this process and would require your stamp of approval to be able to facilitate it. So this is part one. On June 20th, we've got part 2 coming at you with a market research study that we've done. Ms. Burns, y'all remember Ms. Burns possibly from when we did a project about 6-7 years ago. And she's going to bring to us some more target industries for us to focus on and present those to you. But this one is a kind of a basic thing that we need to establish just to be able to move forward with economic development, to be able to incentivize things outside of a 380 development agreement. We can do it under Chapter 312 instead of Chapter 380 if we have this policy in place. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
There also, I wanted to mention, there is a public hearing process for these incentives. There's a 60 to 90 day time frame for these to be approved. So there's more public input into this process in the Chapter 380 process. And what's happening with Chapter 380, there have been some, I hate to use this term, but some abuses of the program where they've extended property tax rebates out 20 years. And
I won't sugarcoat it, Lance. Buc-ee's has done a great job of utilizing this program and getting things way beyond 10-year window that was originally intended. This policy would limit everything to 10 years as per Chapter 312 of the Local Government Code. 380 development chapter or 380 agreement chapter does not limit you to that 10 years, and Buc-ee's has paid for all their infrastructure, all their stuff, and 100% sales tax for a decade. You know, I don't know what a city gets out of having a Buc-ee other than people driving through their town. It's stopping up the interstate and getting a barbecue sandwich and a tank of gas and hitting the road and unloading the load while they're there. So they're a liability to me if you're not going to be able to cash flow. So.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'm not sure I should ask for any more input.
There's been a big push, and Senator Birdwell has put together a bill to stop funding these tax abatements where you're talking about property taxes through the Chapter 380. He's wanting them to go through this process, and I agree with him. It needs to be a public process. It needs to be transparent. The public ought to know what kind of factories come into their town if we're going to incentivize it. So that's what we're dealing with here. So we need a public hearing, boss.
Right. I just a couple of comments. You know, it is, as Mr. Kaufman just said, as Mr. LaCroix said, we are just approving that we will have a process in place. And just as information for you on some of that process, if you go through the details, one of the questions that is asked: will the project benefit the Granbury Independent School District? In these targeted industries, and I've covered those off with Dr. Glenn, and he shakes his head very, very much in the affirmative. Yes, it is. I also want to point out that the City Council has a sole authority under these guidelines to approve or deny. So it's not a matter of, you're going to do tax abatements tonight. No, there's a plan, a very good plan that would come forward. And in these the information here, we are allowed to recapture. If we give an abatement and it doesn't pay out the way that it should, we are allowed to recapture, and we have in place the audit mechanisms to do that. So, we're asking to approve this ordinance tonight, and that's the only thing. So now I'm going to open it to a public hearing. I don't have anyone signed up. Anybody else want to speak in great detail on this? No. I'm going to close the public hearing. Council, other questions, comments? Okay. I'd like to hear a motion to consider adopting ordinance number 2337, which adopts the general tax abatement policy for the city of Granbury.
So moved.
Mr. Wadley makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Vale seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That is a passing vote of 6-0. We're going to now go to number 8, executive session, and I now declare the Granbury City Council is convened into open session that all members are present. The City Council will go into closed session pursuant to provisions of Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in the following sections: 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation; Section 551072, deliberation regarding real property; and Section 551087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. So we are now in executive session. I now declare that the Granbury City Council reconvenes into open session. There was no action taken in closed session. All council members are present. Anyone else have any business? There being no further business, I announce the meeting adjourned.